Morning, ladies. How's everybody doing on this bright, well, not so bright, it's actually quite nice. Wednesday morning, Tuesday morning, goodness me. I'm confusing myself because I said my week's going to start on a Tuesday because I don't like Mondays, this being a short week, so I'll still end by Friday. And now I've confused myself. It's not Wednesday, it is Tuesday today. So welcome to those who
Morning, sir.
Are you guys all doing well?
Yes, sir. Sir Kia is watching it with me.
No problem at all. I'll just tick her off the attendance list as well. Welcome, Kia.
Thank you, sir.
And let's get Andrishka on board.
So we live together.
Are you busy working on a task or assignment or something?
So we live together.
All right, of course. Well, we don't always know all these things, but it gives me some reassurance that at least one of you attend. It means that both of you actually get everything.
Yes, sir.
It helps a great deal. I, unfortunately, when I was a student, unfortunately, was not the reliable component. My roommate attended all the classes. He did all the notes. I just studied them. He got good marks. I just barely passed. But you know what? We all go through different phases in our lives. At that point, I just didn't see that anything more than 50 is actually just a waste of time and effort. If 50 was required to pass. My attitude has since changed, though, and as it always happens, now I have two boys, and the one is exactly like me at that stage, and 50 is enough. The other one wants to excel, and he's disappointed when he gets 99% for an English oral. I thought, my goodness, my friend. I was just lucky that I didn't vomit because nobody really likes orals at all, especially at school. But yeah, it's one of those things. We're all different in that regard, but no, I was not a good roommate to have when it comes to attend the session on my behalf and take notes. You would fail if you take my notes. But anyway, what we discussed yesterday, for those who weren't part of yesterday's session, hasn't watched the video since, what we've done is we've taken, on the previous slide, there's an example, sorry, I've got to go back. It's a previous slide, we took an example of Virtual Tour South Africa, which basically is a business that offers their services to go out to properties, capture all the images, do a 360-degree video, and then upload it as a virtual tour of properties that was up for sale or to rent, and maybe for holiday destinations. They have been very successful, and even more so, I think, during hard lockdown, because it kept the industry going. Although, unfortunately, to finalize a sale of any property, commercial or residential, unfortunately requires the registration of the deed at the deeds office, and they were closed. But still, during that time, my dad sold his house, moved into an old age facility. Within 3 months, I think, property went up for sale somewhere June last year. We were out of hard lockdown, but there were still restrictions. And by September, the transaction was completed, and he had the money in his bank account. So yes, and the buyer was from Durban, so he actually benefited from offering a virtual tour of their property for the future owner of his home. And then what we said is yesterday is, and just to recap for those who weren't present. We then said that what we would like to do is take those 5 services that's on the screen, that you see the logos on the screen. Quickly just look at each of them, describe um, um, or brainstorm, so to speak, the stages that they would have gone through to get to the point where they actually are offering the service as we see on the screen. And then let's have a look at the services blueprint. Just quickly to summarize on what each of those businesses do. Once we're done, you can select anyone. I'll give anybody the opportunity to pick one, and then we go with that one first, and continue until we've sort of dealt with all of those. We queue for you, the one in the bottom left corner, basically a business that offers to queue on your behalf when you have or maybe working very difficult hours, 8 to 5 every day. You cannot go to the municipality or the traffic department to queue for your license registration or license renewals or registration of a vehicle that you have sold or bought. They do that on your behalf. And ironically, on Friday morning, I was in the traffic on the way to the municipality to have my license renewed. And at an intersection, waiting at a red robot, this car was parked in front of me with advertising "We queue for you" on the back windscreen. I contacted them. I haven't used their service because I was already going to queue anyway. So, but I definitely use them in the future if you see the length of the queues. Delico is a family farm just outside of Malmesbury on the way to Riebeek Kasteel and Riebeek West, for those who know that rural area well. They've been, or the current farmers, owners of the farm, it's been in their family since 1893. I think it's 5th generation on the farm currently. And what they've done is they've always supplied their meat to butchers and to supermarkets and shops that stock fresh meat. And over time, they've expanded to, I think they're delivering more than 300 different supermarkets and locations throughout the Western Cape. They are delivering food on a daily fresh meat on a daily basis. But they also have a delivery service directly to the public, where you can go onto their website, you order, you indicate to them how you want your meat cut and packaged, 5 chops in a packet or 10 or 3 or whatever, depending on what your needs are. They package it like that. You pay online, and they have collection points certain days of the week in certain areas in the northern suburbs and the Western Cape, where you can then go there and collect your meat. They take the freezer truck out there, or the cool truck out there with the meat on that particular day and time. It's convenient to some people. Then Fixer is a business, a group of mechanics who say, right, you are working 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever. It's very difficult for you to sometimes to get your vehicle serviced, especially if it's not under warranty anymore. Sometimes you can't take a day off from work, or you can't get somebody to give you a lift back to work after you've dropped your car for service. They will come and do the car service there where the car is parked during the day. If you're working from home, they will come to your property and they will service the vehicle there. If you're working in Tiger Valley and you're parked somewhere in the basement, they will go to the basement and they will service your vehicle there. Home-based personal training, HomeBot Fitness. They don't just offer home-based training sessions where a lot of people have actually terminated their memberships at Planet Fitness, Virgin Active, and these big gym networks because of COVID and the fact that they cannot go to the gym anymore like they have in the past to socially interact with other people, which was often the main reason why people had gym memberships. The social interaction, those 15, a spinning class or a aerobic class or a Pilates class, that still happens, but the numbers obviously are limited to comply to the COVID regulations. So HomeBot Fitness, for instance, also offer you group classes where you can then just stream it. They will perform. Virgin Active did that during hard lockdown as well, where there were instructors who were performing on the screen, like it was early in the start of the fitness industry, around the late 80s, early 90s, where people were actually, especially in the mornings, the morning aerobic classes, where you actually in your own home, you're watching this group of 10, 15 people doing aerobic classes live on television, and you were just following the moves, and obviously the music was in the background as well. So they offer those kind of group sessions too, where you can just log in and follow the class when it's presented. So you don't have to leave your home. I just had one of a new spinning bike delivered yesterday, so I can do some home training as well. It is very difficult, I think, with balancing all your time and with kids at school and at varsity to actually do everything. So sometimes that maybe that after hours when the gym is closed at 9 o'clock at night, or it's not open before 5 in the morning, you want to just exercise at home, you can do that. And then we've got Golf to Africa, a business that is based, I think, in Cape Town and Johannesburg. They've got offices, and they organize tours for people who want to and who's passionate about golf, who want to visit South Africa, play at the 5 best courses in the Western Cape or the Eastern Cape or Gauteng or whatever. And with that, they also want to engage on the normal touristy things, because they're not going to play golf every single day. But they would like to at least have a minimum number of games of golf. So they want to do maybe game drive to see the Big Five if they're up in Gauteng, or maybe they want to go up Table Mountain or go on a wine tour. So these kind of things, packages are all included. I was amazed yesterday that there's a 7-day golfing trip to South Africa, where you play at 3 of the top courses. It was actually at Fan Court in George, which is obviously one of the first golf estates in South Africa. Beautiful. They've got 3 golf courses on the premises. They've got property there for people who stay there permanently. Then they've got the hotel, and they've got the spa and everything, including airfare. It's a 19,000 rand package, which is, I mean, phenomenal if we look at what the prices are nowadays. But that's basically the service that they offer. Yes, golf is what brings everybody together, but the additional services are those extra tours and other activities that they offer too. Right, from all of those 5 that I've mentioned, which one? Well, who's going to pick one? Minka, Nikita, Paige, Tia, Tanika. Anybody? You can pick one. Jessica. Which one should we go first? And then we have a look and unbundle it and see how what we've learned in this chapter applies to how we can apply it to that particular one. Anybody? It's obviously not a clear favorite.
Maybe the first one?
Which one?
The VQ for you.
Which one would you prefer?
The first one?
The first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Week U for you. Right. So if we look um, at how um, how do we generate an idea like or how did a business like this remember the first thing that we have to answer, the first question that we have to answer for each of these businesses: what's the purpose? Why do we want to offer a service like this? Now, I think in the case of WeQ for you, it's quite simple. You don't have the time. You are too lazy to go stand in a queue. You hate standing in queues. Therefore, we will solve that problem for you. And like any other service that's offered, because we are doing it on your behalf, there will be a fee involved, obviously. Yesterday, I did a transfer of ownership of a vehicle or one of the trailer that I sold. That was 165 Rand. Now, somebody like that would probably um, charge you 250 or 300 Rand. They will have to pay the 165, the difference they take for themselves. I'm using it as an example. So the main purpose why this service exists is because people do not have the time. And if you go onto the website of City of Cape Town or City of Gauteng or Johannesburg or Durban, you'll find that it is possible to do your registrations and your renewals online, but only in certain areas. You can do online registrations, but you can only do it in Gauteng. Can't do it in Cape Town yet. So obviously there's a greater need for assistance in offering a service that can do this on your behalf. I also know that obviously there are still certain additional services I think that they can add maybe. I know for a fact that for learners and for driver's licenses, just making the appointment, not just going for, you can't send somebody else to do your driver's test for you. But when it comes to the admin, the actual booking of the date, again, you cannot book a learner's driver's appointment or a driver's appointment online. You have to be there. You have to go in the queue. Um, Maybe for, and I think you're probably not going to be able to extend your service to include that too, because when it comes to those particular appointments, the person who will take the test also need to be there because there's eye test involved. And then obviously for the when you're writing the exam, somebody can't write the exam on your behalf. And then alternatively, when you do your driver's license, then you actually have to get into a vehicle, so somebody can't do that on your behalf. But I believe there are some room where they can still improve, maybe and add an additional service, because it can be written, the test can be taken. I mean, the learners, for instance, the theory test, you can take it online. Why do you have to actually be in a facility and do it? Do it online. All the other, or there's lots of other businesses, tertiary institutions that offer assessments online. So just it's an additional service I think that they can expand to. But the main purpose is convenience of you not having to stand in a queue 1.5 meters apart with a mask on in the beating February sun, or if it's in winter, cold, drizzly, wind blowing. You don't really want to be there, but you don't have a choice. Okay, so the main purpose is quite simple and clear. When it comes to a service blueprint, the service blueprint, remember we said that it must include the physical evidence, the customer's actions, the front and the back office activities, and then also the support process. Now, in the case of WeQ for you, when it comes to the physical evidence, there will be invoicing done. You will probably have to complete a declaration that is necessary to instruct the people at the municipality or at the traffic department that we queue for you, and a person standing in front of them is acting on your behalf, and he has to prove that you have given him permission to do it on your behalf. You'll probably also have to supply them with all the necessary documentation, like copies of IDs and all the regional documentation that's necessary, like the license disc and stuff like that. So those are physical evidence that's required. The documentation, the paperwork needs to be there and will be requested. If you go onto Wiki4U's website, you'll find that all those application forms that's necessary for the different transactions that you can do is available, and you can just download it, complete it, and maybe upload it again to them, and they can just print it out and take it to the traffic department or the municipality and queue on your behalf. The customer's actions would be to go onto their website first, supply the necessary documentation that they request, and then later on also arrange for maybe the collection of the actual disc that is necessary. If it's a license renewal, for instance, that little round disc is on the windscreen of your vehicle, on display on the windscreen. You cannot, I suppose you can scan it and then send it to somebody, a color scan, and then they can print it and just stick on the windscreen. But I'm pretty sure that you want that original documentation at some point. So maybe there's another supplier involved, and that could be somebody and that you have subcontracted to, that operates in the back office, which could be a courier service that would deliver those documentation to you. I know that up to a certain point last year during lockdown, you could apply for a license renewal through the City of Cape Town's website online, and they will then, once everything is completed and they've received proof of payment from you, they will print that new license disc. They will put it in an envelope, and they will courier it, and it will be delivered to your door, like with any other service, DHL or take-a-lot deliveries. That, unfortunately, I think they've stopped doing that. I can only assume it's for security reasons. People obviously scamming. One thing I did also see that maybe is a limitation for this particular service, but I suppose it's also it's not the worst challenge, is that your traffic departments and your municipalities only allow a maximum of 3 transactions when you are at the counter. So if they go there and they queue on your behalf, they're probably going to queue on behalf of quite a number of people, and they will have more than a number of transactions to complete for their business to work sufficiently and to make it worth their while. But I suppose they will then just go stand in the back of the queue again, because that's what they're there for, and that's why they are called Wiki4U. The front line office would obviously be the person that will, on your behalf, go queue and complete whatever is necessary, the interaction with the people at the traffic department or the municipality. So the municipality is another party in this particular transaction, in this service, because they will be the ones who will be supplying the product that you want. This person standing and queuing on your behalf is offering a service on your behalf or to you. So that other official involved is also part of your frontline activities. Support processes, as I said, is probably if there's any collection and delivery required of documentation, that would be either the business themselves or anybody that they have subcontracted that service to, like a courier service or a well, probably an Uber service you can use, but they will probably have their own vehicles. Any questions? I think if we look at the blueprint for a business like that or a service like that, that sort of should have covers everything. Any questions from what I've said, or any related to the case study that you I'm clear on?
No, sir, all good.
Okay, fantastic. Would it be a service that you will consider to use?
Yeah, probably.
So I can assume that none of you are really keen on queuing. Who's been to campus recently? Well, no, not recently, this week. Haven't been to campus this week. Well, when you do go back to campus at some point, just make sure that you go for your planning, go slightly earlier, because there's obviously now new first years busy with orientation this week and classes next week. And the queues at the front entrance to have your temperature taken and get your tag for the day is quite long from very early on. I would say from about 20 to 8, it actually becomes quite a long queue. I had class this morning at 10 past 8, and the students who were on campus for the contact session, they only got to class at about 25 past 8. So yeah, I think the earlier ones arrived at 8:25. Some of them even arrived later. Right. Pick another one. Let's pick another one and go through the same process and see how it applies to a different service. Anybody? Give it a go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one? Pick a service and then we discuss the service blueprint of that particular service, please.
Fixer, so they're saying fixer in the chat.
Fixer, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with Fixer. Fixer is, as I said, a group of mechanics or business that have mechanics that are prepared to go to your, to wherever your car is and service it. Especially, I think, for people who have vehicles that's not on a service plan and is out of warranty, which is usually after about 5 years nowadays. The physical evidence in a case like this would be, again, you having to complete a form, providing them with information, location, your details, maybe your ID, I suppose, and obviously the option that you have taken, because on this site you will be able to select what service is required. Do you just need do you need 4 new wheels, and how are we going to work? How do we work with giving you them access to the vehicle? I suppose it's like many of these car washes that we find nowadays in the basement areas of supermarkets or malls, where you drop off your vehicle, you do your shopping, you have breakfast or whatever, and you come back an hour later. And yes, there's some form of trust involved. I suppose in a case like this, it would be similar. A lot of people, I think, would initially be wary to maybe have the vehicle or to hand over the keys to somebody that they don't know. But again, I'm pretty sure that that your vehicle is properly insured in case of that. And then also part of the physical evidence, additional physical evidence would be obviously for the service would be the mechanic itself, the person doing the work, and the tools that person is going to require, and obviously based on what you have selected on their site, what type of service you require. They will obviously then ensure that they bring the necessary tools with. Completing of all the proper documentation, invoicing and payment and proof of payment. I'm not sure, I've never used a service like this, but I'm pretty sure that there will be, to ensure that there's mutual trust between the two parties, you will probably have to pay a deposit up front to get them to the premises, and then once the service is completed, that you pay, because when you take your vehicle to, if it's still on a service plan, to a supplier or to a dealership for a service, you only pay any extras that's not covered by your service plan after the service has been completed. So all the documentation, invoicing and booking of the service is part of your physical evidence and processes, basically. The 3 P's for services, remember: people, physical evidence, and processes. The customer's action would be A, to book it online, and B, to then maybe make a partial payment towards the service that they've selected. C is for them to go down to the vehicle and hand over the keys. So obviously having made sure that all the valuable items have been removed from the vehicle, so they can access their particular vehicle to do the service. And then later on, obviously, collect again the keys for your vehicle from them. Once they're finished, they maybe give you a call. You walk down again from your office to your car, collect the keys, inspect that everything is done, go back up to the office, or to your office, and maybe make the rest of the payment for the service that was delivered, because obviously you need to be satisfied with it. Your front and back office activities, your back office activities would be anybody that operates the online booking, the people in the fixer office that takes the bookings, that follow up and do make all the calls and respond to the emails and the transactions and check that the payments have been made and stuff like that. Those are all people working at the back. People working in the front office activities would be, or what we record to as front office activities, would be the mechanics that go out to the premises and to the service and perform the service on your vehicle. Your support services, in this case could be maybe they, in addition to the service of the vehicle. Usually, I know when you take it to, although it's not the case nowadays, or it's not standard practice nowadays with COVID-19 regulations, when you take your vehicle for a service to a dealership nowadays, it's on a service plan. They do not do the valets anymore. They basically clean the outside of your vehicle, but they don't get inside the vehicle. They do not perform those proper valets, which is sad, because I mean, actually, it's something I really enjoyed. I always decide to take my car for a service after I've taken the dogs to the beach, because they don't know there's a lot of dog hair in the car, and the car is going to get a nice proper valet when it's serviced. But they've stopped doing that now. But maybe there's an additional service, like a cleaning service that they bring in as part of the service that they deliver to you, but they don't do it themselves. That could be that they in a sort of a strategic alliance with other suppliers like that, for instance. Maybe they when they operate in locations where, for instance, there is a car wash in a basement, it will probably be wise for you to drop your vehicle on that level, and then it can also get serviced additionally. to the service of the vehicle, to the engine itself. At the moment, I can't think of anything else. Any questions that you have regarding fixer, for instance? Is it something that you might consider? You have all the time in the world. I mean, you're just lazy if you use a service like this. But I think most of us nowadays, well, I've had a look at the cars that the students have on campus, and I'm not concerned that any of them actually require a service like fixer, because most of the vehicles are rather new, to be honest with you, and would probably still be under warranty, and definitely have a service plan included as well. Any questions, anybody, about fixer and the services that they offer?
No, sir, all good.
Okay, what I'll do now is let's cut the session short. We've got about 3 minutes to go. Let's cut the session short and immediately rejoin, because there's not enough time to start and finish. What I would like to do is for us to end the session, immediately join again, and then we'll do one more of those services to finish the session for today. Okay, so I'll see you, and then we'll chat again very short while, let's say within the next minute.